My dad was an entrepreneur, and he said, look, you're not going to college. You can't live at home. You start a business, you got to do something. So I said, well, I kind of would like to open a Chicago hot dog stand. I love a Chicago Portillo hot dog and a tamale and a French fry. And I said, I'd love to open a hot dog stand. He said, I'll tell you what. He says, I'll lend you $25,000.
Dang.
And a pretty good deal. He says, and here's the deal. He said, you get 25 grand. If it makes it, I own 48%. If it fails, you go to the Army for 2 years and you don't have to pay me back. He really wanted me to go to the Army. My dad was an entrepreneur, and he said, look, you're not going to college. You can't live at home. You start a business, you got to do something. So I said, well, I kind of would like to open a Chicago hot dog stand. I love a Chicago Portillo hot dog and a tamale and a French fry. And I said, I'd love to open a hot dog stand. He said, I'll tell you what. He says, I'll lend you $25,000.
Dang.
And a pretty good deal. He says, and here's the deal. He said, you get 25 grand. If it makes it, I own 48%. If it fails, you go to the Army for 2 years and you don't have to pay me back. He really wanted me to go to the Army. He fought the Korean War. My big brother Greg drove an armored personnel carrier. My little brother Robbie was a ranger out in Fort Ord, California.
So you're the odd duck.
Total odd duck. All three of those guys are fighters, and every time I got in a fight, I just got the shit beat out of me. I mean, I didn't know what to do in a fight. I just
open up a concession stand. That's what you do, apparently.
That's what you do. You open up a sandwich shop. So anyway, I graduate high school, and so I go to visit hot dog stands. And in 2 weeks, I visited 50. I knew what I had I knew what I had to have on the menu. I knew what equipment I needed to have, and I made a list. I made a menu list and my equipment list, and it was easy. I went to the library and got yellow pages. We didn't have technology. We didn't have Google, and they had the yellow pages in the library, and I Googled restaurant equipment and then used restaurant equipment. And I found places in Chicago that had it, and I drove my car down to the city, and I found a section, which is now the West Loop, which is the hottest area in Chicago, but storefront after storefront of entrepreneur-owned little used restaurant equipment houses, right? So I had the list of equipment for my hot dog stand, and the cheapest price I got was $43,000. So I drive back home to Cary, Illinois, and I say, Pop. He's, yeah, what's up? I said, I need more dough. He said, what are you talking about? I said, I need 43 grand just for the equipment. I got a fryer, a steam table, a hood. I got a grill. I got a flat top. I got a milkshake machine. He said, hey, dude, it's 25 grand.
Damn.
And I'm like,
the bus stops here, huh?
I'm like, dude, you're serious. I'm serious as shit, son. He said, so this is like mid-June. And so it was random, but I was going to go visit a buddy at Southern Illinois University that next weekend.
The Salukis, right, is it?
Yeah, it is the Salukis. So I drive down there, and I'm partying with my buddy. He says, let's go get a sandwich at Booby Sandwiches. I'm like, what's this little sandwich shop? It's great. So I go to this little sandwich shop. Theo, literally, it's got a refrigerator, a Coca-Cola refrigerator. Mm-hmm. There's vegetables in it, there's meats in it, and there's beer in it, and there's soda in it. It's like Coca-Cola gave it to him, but he was using it.
All in the same fridge.
All in the same fridge. He had a little make table, half the size of your desk, little refrigerated make table, a meat slicer, and he was making, and it had bags of bread and a cash register. The guy's making sandwiches. So I just came from fryers and steam tables, milkshake machines, and all this shit, all this equipment. And here I'm like, there's a refrigerator. I said, I can do sandwiches.
Wow.
So
just like that. So you went so before that it was hot dogs, and you just, and in that moment just changed it for you?
That moment changed my head. I just came from 18, 20 pieces of equipment for $45,000.
Right.
I knew I could get a used refrigerator for $400. I knew I could get a used make line for $500. I knew I could get a refrigerator for $250 or a cash register for $250. And I knew I could get. And I said, can I have the number of richest frozen products Poughkeepsie, New York? And directory assistant says, sure, one moment, please, and gives me the number. So I call Rich's Frozen Products and I said, hello, may I speak to Mr. Rich? The lady says, one moment, please.
No way.
I swear to God. The guy gets on the phone and says, hello, this is Bob Rich. I said, hello, Mr. Rich? He says, yes, ma'am. My voice, it was, it's pretty squeaky now, but it was squeakier then. Yes, ma'am, what can I do for you? I just went with it. I said, listen, I said, I'm opening a sandwich shop in Illinois. And I said, and I just tried your bread dough, and it's way better than the bread dough I make. Can you supply me my bread dough? He says, you're opening a sandwich shop in Illinois? He says, give me your phone number. Let me call you back. So I hang up the phone, and he calls me back in 5 minutes. He says, you know where Schaumburg, Illinois is? I said, yeah, I live in Cary, Illinois. He said, well, my friend Lou Ganella is building an addition on his frozen dough factory right by you.
Wow.
And you go see him. Can you be there tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock? And he'll go set you, go see him at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. I said, really? He said, absolutely. Here's the address. Here's the phone number. You go tomorrow morning, you go see my friend Lou Ganella.
And how old are you?
I'm 18 years old.
Damn.
18 years old. Dude. So I had a Chevy Citation, man, the hatchback.
Yeah. The car was called a Citation?
It was a Chevy Citation, man. It was awesome. Front wheel
drive. That's a ticket. That's a parking ticket.
I could spin it backwards. I could do 360 donuts. It was killer. Yeah. So I go to this factory. It's a construction site. I walk in the front door, and there's a woman there, a receptionist, and there's two yellow hats there, and one says Jimmy John on it, construction hats, and one says Lou. So I go in there, and excuse me, Ron. His name was Ron. And he was Lou's nephew or something like that, but Lou owned it. His name was Ron Lucchese. It was Ron and Jimmy. So the 1 minute, Ron comes out. He says, son, put that hat on. Come on with me. I go into this kitchen, and here they got like 20 different breads all lined out fresh out of the oven. He says, come on, let's play with some bread. Let's eat some bread and see what you like, and we'll make some bread dough. And they had mixers over here. In about 6 hours, between he and I said, I like this one pretty good. He's like, well, then we'll make that bread dough for you. Wow. I'm sure there's no way in a million years did he ever think that it would be what it was. Sure enough, I called him 3 months later. I said, I got my location. I'm going to do it at Eastern Illinois University. And son of a gun, if I didn't end up loyal to that family and that company, and we are now their largest customer, and I think there's over 100 Ganella family members that are owners of this company, and we are their largest customer now. So it was it was an incredible experience. And it was so random that I called that phone number, and the dude there was a Bob Rich, and he picked up the phone. I mean, what if he was at lunch?
Cal, is it still there today?
It's right across the street. It's a tattoo shop now. The original. It was only 630 square feet. It was a 2-car garage. It was a house that was converted into a Dixie Cream donut shop. Had a 2-car garage attached to it. That was a failed pizza joint. I rented that garage for $200 a month, and there was a bar behind me. There was a bar to the left of me and a bar in front of me. So I put my sandwich shop right in that garage. So when the bars closed, they came to Jimmy John. So I chose that site. The rent was $200 a month, and August when I was going to do it. When you said, like, what was your family saying? I got the bread. I figured it out. I had my sandwiches. I drive down to Eastern Illinois, and I came back with 2 leases, the garage, and I rented an apartment. And I said, Pops, I got to fund the account. I'm doing this. And I still really didn't have much feedback from him at all. And then he funded the account, and he gave me a checkbook and said, you pay for everything COD. So you live in reality. You start with $25,000. So I did. So I bought my equipment. I bought a used refrigerator. I bought a used meat slicer. I bought a Sears chest freezer to hold my bread dough. My mom gave me her oven mitts, her Rubbermaid cake spatula, and she gave me her Tupperware to keep my tomatoes and my lettuce in. And man, and I opened up in this little tiny 2-car garage at Eastern Illinois.
At 19 years old?
I opened up my 19th birthday, a day after I turned 19, January 13, 1983. I opened up my first store.
So you knew, so the $25,000 does come into play. So that money, at this point, he's funding the account, so you have some money to help you go.
Absolutely. Yeah, I had to remodel it. I had to build a counter. I had to put paneling up. I had to plumb my sink and get my bathroom done. So I did. And then I did. I spent $23,871. I needed $1,000 for inventory, and I remember the numbers. And so anyway, I opened up January 13, 83, and I had a $1,300 balance to start with, and started out, man. With 2 of my buddies and me, so there's 3 of us. January, February was great. Then one guy quit. So you have 7-day shifts and 7 night shifts essentially. So then one dude quit. So I took 7 days. The other dude took 7 nights.
Jeez, this is like the Bible. I feel like.
So then March came, and the night dude quit. And I get a call at like 4:30 in the afternoon. I'm in the sub shop, and the dude says, "Hey man, listen, I quit." I said, "You quit?" He said, "Why?" I said, "Why you quit?" He said, "Because you're an asshole."
Wow.
And I said, "Okay, so what time are you going to be in?" He said, "No, I'm out of here." And the customers came in, and the phone rang, and one thing led to another. It's 2 a.m. So I got up, and so I closed the store at 2 a.m. after, and then opened it up again at 8. And this is like April of 83. So I'm working this thing open to close 8 a.m. I didn't even know you could work from 8 a.m. till 2 a.m. If you ask the National Labor Relations Board, they'll tell you no way. You got to sue somebody for that, right?
Yeah, OSHA would have some issues.
That's right. So, but the first week I did it, it was really hard, and I was freaking out. But the second week, man, I'm like, whoa, I can do this. And by the third week, Theo, I am starting to know my customers, who they are, what they like. If they're chubbier like me, I give them a little extra mayo. If they were skinny like you, I took a little off. I used to use the ends of the meats that weren't so pretty, but they were still salami and ham. I'd sell those after 1 o'clock in the morning because nobody knew what they were eating anyway. Yeah. So I figured out how to utilize the waste, and I really started getting into running the sandwich shop after everybody quit. I survived. I just made it happen. Then I learned I could work open to close, and then I started remember my dad said, keep your bank balance every day, pay for everything COD. And I'm watching this bank balance go up, and I'm watching it go up every day. And I finished the semester in May, and I started the semester with $1,300, and I had $18,000 in the bank. And I'm like, man, I'm a millionaire.
Yeah.
And so I totally started paying attention to this checkbook. And so the end of the first year, I did 156,000 in sales and made 40 grand profit. I split it with my dad.
Okay.
48.52.
Right.
And then the second year I did 180,000 and made 55,000. I split it with my dad, and I saved all my cash. I got paid $200 a week. That's what my pay was. And I saved all the money less the tax. So I bought my dad out in May of 1985 for the 25 grand plus 10% interest. So I had exactly $30,000, and I took it out of the bank in cash to go pay him off and own it. He's like, dude, compound interest. I'm like, what's compound interest? He's like, dude, you owe me another $1,300. I'm like, give me a break. So we got the 20 grand the first year, 25 grand year two, the original investment back. Then I owned it myself